Welcome to this tutorials on how to use the VBAs that I've developed for students of post-graduations so that they can interpret their results using Excel. Now, this VBA macro is to list all the page names in one of the sheets or the freshly created sheets with a name. So therefore, we'll start developing the VBA macro first. So if you can see that this is the file that I have all the sheets developed here with their results. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with the record macro and I'm going to give a name. Now new sheet, and that's titled as names. Okay, now let's look into this. Now this is done. Now once you're done this, all that I have to do here is add and go here and rename it as names. All that I have to do is just click yes and then just stop it there. So we'll stop it here and take a look at the macros here. Now you can see here that this particular macro is in this sheet itself, but whereas I've got other sheet that is open and that consists of various other macros, and you can see here it is. So let's edit. Now here if you see it says sheet after, add after. Now then it says active sheet. Now once you're done, it says active sheet and that particular sheet is named as name. So this is what I'm trying to take. Now but here there's a problem. Every time the sheet need not be sheet 1, it could be sheet any number. So therefore what we would do is that I would say there's a sheet add after active sheet. Activate dot active sheet. Let's look whether this works, and then we'll say then active sheet we'll complete, and then we'll say select. Then that active sheet name now can be again put into name. So what happens here is, and then we're going to say this particular thing. So here I have my own doubts whether this activate.active sheet will work. So let's try to look at this particular macro if it works. So let's try to, now it says that this particular sheet is not saved as a macro sheet, so therefore I just ignore it. And what I would do here is, rather than saving, I'll keep it as it is, so that I'll just make a check of this. Now here I will delete this particular sheet. Okay, so now here I have, all that I have to do is view the macro and I'm going to run this new sheet name. Now let's look whether there is a problem. So it says that activate active sheet is not available. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say I'm going to delete this because I think this is unrecognized, or active sheet activate is a problem. So let's look into just these data. Now we'll stop it here and we'll go back to our sheet. Now we'll go back to our sheet, and what we have done here is we have tried to save this particular VBA. Now this is the VBA that is active. I'm not going to save it because I'm just experimenting this. So you can see here that there is something that is created here. Let's delete this now. Now what I'm going to do here, again I'm going to go here and I'm going to read the macros. I'm going to say run the macro. You can see that its name is created, so therefore we have successfully renamed it. Now why did I choose this? Now here, if you look into my various other macros, what I can do is I will move into this particular macro, and here if you see here, I need these particular step of sheets. Okay, steps in one of the sheets. I've written a macro. I need these steps. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this macro and these set of codes into my one more macro. Okay, let me close this and show you where it is. Now if I view the macros, you can see that there are various other macros here. Now here I have one of the macro which has been written for other purpose. Now let's look into it. Edit. Now, if you see this, it says that you have to, this is a list sheet. That means it's going to list all the sheet names in the sheet names, and the names are going to be contained in the range A. That means in the column A. So therefore it is first cleared and then it is going to be input. But to every time, if I don't have the sheet called names, then it's going to be an issue. So therefore what I'm trying to do here is that I'm going to make a sheet, and that sheet is put here. So I've just plugged in these particular codes that we have developed recently, and now what happens is that now this particular set of code creates one of the sheet with the names, and then this sheet is going to be, now even if it is not available, this macro is going to work fine. So most of the time I've written most of the macros wherein whenever I click, there was this name sheet missing, so the users were finding it difficult to know what's gone wrong, and most of them have asked questions in the classroom or via email, what's gone wrong. Sometimes these VBAs are very case specific, so I'm not a programmer but a structural engineer. I use it for certain specific tasks, so it's very difficult for me to understand the question or to give immediate end results. Therefore I found it very safe for me to answer by giving a complete solution, by understanding most of their questions. So here what I've done is that now I have this sheet. One of the student has the researcher has given me the results of the various cases, and the one of the program requires the names of these sheets so that we can pull out those datas and input into one more program. So now this sheet which has got, I want all the sheet names to be listed in one of the sheet name called names, and I want all the names here. So all that I have to do is now view the code, and if you see here, we have just updated the list sheet. I'm going to run this, so I can easily see that we have got the sheet name in the order. Now you can see that this is in a particular order, that is in the same order as it shows here. So you have the this particular sheet here, whereas the name come in between and then the rest. So this way you can easily see how we can create a list of the sheets in one of the specific, and this I'll be using in the later part for some other purpose, which I will show you. If in case the time permits, I'll make one more video and show you. So now thank you for watching, and please do subscribe for the channel.